Today I'm going to be showing you 33 easy checks you should make when buying a used car. You don't need any mechanical knowledge, no tools, literally anyone can make these and they can save you thousands. First, we'll start outside the car. Then we'll check everything inside the car. Then at the end of this video, I'll give you a free checklist that you can take on your phone so you don't miss anything. Let's get on with it. When you're handed the keys, the first thing you want to check is the key works properly, but you also want to make sure that when you unlock the car, it unlocks every door. So if I unlock this car, of course, you'll check the driver's side door, but make sure you remember to go round and check the passenger door. And if the car's got more doors, this has only got 2, make sure to check the back doors, because it's common sometimes that the key will only unlock the front doors if there's a problem with the back, and you might not check it. Make sure you check the button on the key to open up the boot as well, because it's really common for these to fail. So press and hold, and as you can see here, the boot pops up nicely. Once the car's unlocked, the next thing to check is the doors. So you want them to open smooth and nicely. If there's any stiffness or any noise, that's something to really look out for. Now we're going to take a good look at the car's paint, and there's a few things to look out for. Step back and take a full look at the car. Go around the car and check every panel. Look really closely and make sure that there's no mismatched panels. You know, the paint might be a slightly different shade, which could be an indicator that the car's been in an accident and it's been poorly resprayed. Now you want to get close to the car and really look at the paint. Go through every panel. What we're looking for is any dull spots or random splodges, anything that just doesn't look normal. Next, we need to check for rust and corrosion, which can be a bit scary for some people, but it's really easy to check. The main areas you want to check is where any water would get in. So especially around the wheel arches, take a close look, and then you want to make sure you open the door and then check all under the area here. And of course, finally, we want to go under the car, and this is where you can take a look. These parts here, anything that's close to the ground, just have a really good look around the car and it should be easy to spot. Now, if you're not sure about paint corrosion, this is what paint corrosion looks like. Next job is to check all 4 tyres. Now, the main thing to check, of course, is the life of the tyres and the tread. And you can do this using a trick with a 20p coin.
Take a 20p coin and push it down into the groove of the tyre. If you can't see the border around the coin, the tyre is safe and legal. If you can see it, that means the tyre is unsafe and illegal. Always walk away if someone's trying to sell you a car with illegal tyres.
The next thing I always do is check the brand of the tyres. Now, this can be a really good indication of how much the previous owner took care of the car. You don't need any knowledge of tyres to do this. All you need to do is look on the tyre for the brand. Now, you can see here that mine is a Pirelli tyre. If you see a tyre brand on the car and you're not sure if it's premium, all you need to do is Google, "Are Pirelli tyres premium?" and it will tell you exactly what tier of tyre they are. Now, if you find a car fitted with budget tyres, it's not a huge red flag. I mean, it's not great, but more what we're looking for here is if you come across an old used car and the previous owners put a full set of premium tyres on it, that's a huge green flag. That means they really took care of the car and they were not afraid to spend a bit of money on it. Now we're going to be looking under the car again, and this is just one final check. You want to go as far down as possible, and the idea here is really just to look out for anything that's hanging or looks loose, and if there's anything dripping, that could be a leak. Just check under the car and make sure there's nothing abnormal. Next is the windscreen. Now this can be really expensive if you miss it, and it's really easy to check. Just run your finger along it and look very closely and look out for any chips or scrapes, because a whole new windscreen could be very expensive. Next, we're going to check that all the lights and indicators work, and we're going to start here with the front headlamps. Now, have a good look at the glass and behind it and make sure there's no fogging or any signs of water getting in, because that could be really expensive to fix. Then we're going to hop into the car and switch on the hazard lights. Then you want to come out and have a look around the entire car to make sure all 4 are working. Then ask the person who's selling you the car to jump in and push down on the brake pedal so you can check that both brake lights are fully working. Now there's one final bodywork check we need to do, and that is to check for dents. Now if you stand back here, you might not be able to see the dents, but I've got a little trick. If you go down to the very end of the car like this, down here, and run your eye along the side, you should be able to see any dents if they pop in. And you can do the exact same all around the car. Now we're back to the wheels for a very important check, and that is to check if your alloy wheels have locking wheel nuts. Now what that means is one of these lug nuts might look different to the rest, and that's because it's a special one that requires a key to take it off. Now it's to stop people from stealing your wheels. So the important thing is to check with the person you're buying the car from if it comes with the key, because if it doesn't come with the key, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get these off, and your wheels are probably going to get damaged when you have to change your tyres. Now we're on the inside, the first thing we're going to check is the windows. Press the button and make sure they go up and down smoothly with no strange noises. Now we're going to test every single button that we can inside the car. Now every car is different, so different cars are going to have different buttons, but here I will test all the heated seat buttons work, all these buttons here work, go through the infotainment screen if it's got one, have a little flick through, make sure there's no error messages popping up and everything's responsive and works. If it's got a sat nav, check the sat nav, make sure the sat nav's not disabled or some sort of expired subscription. Basically, we want to go through, press all the buttons just to make sure that everything works. One you might forget as well is the horn. We need our horn, so make sure the horn works. That's what an Aston Martin sounds like when you press the horn. It works, but don't forget the horn because that's an important one. You don't want to drive away, suddenly blow your horn and hear nothing. Another important one is to check that the heating and air conditioning is all fully working. So crank the temperature all the way to max and make sure that hot air is blowing from every vent, and then do the exact same afterwards. Take it all the way down to its lowest to check that cold air-conditioned air is coming into the cabin. You might need to start the engine to test this fully. That's absolutely fine. Make sure that they do actually work, because what can happen sometimes is the little trap door here can get blocked. And again, that could be an expensive repair. Now also as well, if nothing's coming out, don't panic. Sometimes there's a little dial here that you turn. Make sure that it's turned on the open position. When you start the car up, have a good look at the dash. Now, as you start the car, all these warning lights will come on and then they should disappear. Now, if any of those lights don't disappear, apart from this one, which is to tell you the handbrake is on, that's a problem. Ask about it. Another one to check is the adjustment of the seats. Now, if there's something wrong with the seats, that could be expensive. So if it's got manual seats, there's normally a lever down here. Pull it and check that it moves smoothly. And if it's got electric seats like this car here, use the dials and pull the seat all the way forward and all the way back to make sure that everything operates. I mean, make sure you check all the buttons, the backrest, it goes low, it goes high. As you can see, it's all working, and make sure you don't just check your seat, check the passenger seat as well. Next one is to check every seatbelt in the car. Now this is a really important one because it could show signs if the car's been in an accident. What you want to do is pull the seatbelt out nice and far on every seat and check that there's any damage or fraying in the seatbelt. The material should be lovely, it should look new. There's absolutely no reason for seatbelts to wear unless it's a really high mileage car. Earlier I said to check all buttons in the car, and we've done that, but you might have forgotten to check the steering wheel buttons. Now, the steering wheel buttons are the most common to go when the electrics start to go in the car. So press every button on the steering wheel, turn the volume up and down on the radio, make sure they all work. Speaking of radio, we're now going to use the radio to test all the speakers in the car. Now, one of the speakers might not be working, all the speakers might not be working. You might not want to listen to the radio when you're test driving a car, so don't forget to test this one. Pop the radio on, put the volume up nice and high, and go around and put your ear as close as you can to each individual speaker to make sure there's sound coming through. Next is to check the wiper blades and, more importantly, the washers to make sure they all function. So sit in the car, make sure you close the doors and the windows before you do this, and just press the button to operate it. Watch the jets, make sure that it goes all over the windscreen and both bits are spraying, and make sure the windscreen wipers operate as normal as well. Now, this one is really important, and that is make sure your car comes with its spare key. Now, a car from new should come with two keys. One is the spare. Now, if the spare key is missing, firstly, where is it? Is the previous owner going to come and take the car once you bought it? But more importantly, if you need to get a new spare key from a main dealer, it's going to cost you anywhere from £300 to £500. So make sure you check, because this could be very expensive. Another important one is to check the car comes with its original spare wheel. Now, a lot of cars don't have spare wheels anymore, they just come with a tyre repair kit instead. But this is just as important, and you're going to want to make sure this is in the car. So go around the boot, have a look. If you can't see anything, ask the seller, where is the tyre repair kit? We're going to do one final check for rust and corrosion, but this time we're going to do it inside the car. We're going to go to the boot, pull the carpet back, and have a good look in this area to make sure there's no rust or any dampness. Give it a smell too, because normally with dampness you can smell, it will smell a bit funky. This is a really important check, so don't miss this one out. Now we're on to a very important part, the paperwork. And we're going to start off by reviewing the car's service history, which will normally come in a nice book like this. Now, a car really should have a service every year or every 10,000 miles. So what you want to do is look through the book and make sure that it's had its service every year. Now, some cars in their earlier years, I think Audis, for example, might not have a first service until after 2 years. But some drivers opt to take it in on its first year because I think it's better for the car personally. But if there's any gaps and it's not been serviced for over 2 years, that is a huge red flag. Each service should be in the book, and it should have a stamp from the person that did it. Now, anyone could fake a service history. All you need is a pen and a stamp. So what you can do is you can look up the places that service the car, and you could actually phone them up and say, do you have this in your records? Did you service this car? Is this real service history? Now, this might take some time, but you only need to do it for 1 or 2. And if 1 or 2 come up with, no, we've never heard of that car, it's not in our books, that's when you know it might be fake. The next thing to check in the paperwork is there any evidence that the timing belt has been changed? This might not apply to every car, because some cars have chains instead of timing belts, and chains typically don't need to be changed as soon as a timing belt. What happens with an older car is when it goes over 50,000 miles, that's when it's time to start looking at changing the timing belt. And it's so important because an old timing belt can put a lot of strain on your engine. So if there's no evidence that the belt's been changed and the car's done over 50,000 miles, ask the person selling the car, has the timing belt been changed? And if they say no, or they can't prove it, ask them to change it before you buy the car. And if they refuse to do it, then I would suggest not buying the car. Now, this one's a really good one, but sadly it's only for the UK. And that is to check the MOT history. Now, I'm not sure if my friends watching from Europe or America have a similar system, but in the UK we have an MOT test on cars over 5 years old every year. The MOT test is a safety test, and it picks up faults and problems with the car that wouldn't make it safe to be on the road. If you go to this website here and put the car registration in, you can get a full report of every single MOT of that car. It's a brilliant way to check through the history of the car. Now, the first thing you can do is check the mileage of the car on every MOT test. This is great because if the mileage doesn't correspond to the car when you check it inside, that means the car's been clocked, and that means run away. But the MOT is also helpful because you can see if it's failed in the past and what for. If you see any fails, don't panic, because it's common sometimes for cars to fail their MOT tests. The most important thing is, did it then pass afterwards when it had a retest? It's really good. You can look through the history of the car, and it can really paint a picture of the owner of the car and if they took care of it. For example, if they had a warning on their tyres the previous MOT test, and then the next one it then failed on its tyres, that to me really shows a careless owner. So you might want to avoid that car. The last one to check is, does the car come with its original owner's manual? This to me just shows a owner that really cares about the car, and I love it when a car's been to lots of owners over the years and all of them have taken care of the original manual. It's just a good sign, and it shows that the car has been well looked after. Right, now it's time to go on the test drive. So we're going to start the car up. As the car starts, listen to the engine. Make sure there's no strange noises, rattles, any clanking or metal on metal, it should run nice and smooth. Now I know for non-mechanical people this might be quite difficult, but trust me, if the engine is running lumpy, you'll know it just will sound weird. What you want to hear is a consistent noise. So as you can hear mine now, you can hear it's moving nice and steady. While the engine's running, take a look at the dashboard and more importantly, the rev counter. You want to look at the dial and make sure there's no random juddering or jumps in the RPM. It should be nice and still while the engine is idle. Another one that people sometimes forget while test driving a car is make sure the radio is fully off, all the fans are off. We want no noise inside here because we want to really be able to listen to the engine and the gearbox while we're driving, just so it doesn't mask any naughty noises that could represent a problem with the car. I mean, if it's a shady salesman, he might actually turn the radio on purpose and put all the fans on just so you can't hear any negative noises from the engine or the gearbox. And also the steering as well. We're going to keep an eye on the steering and listen for any odd noises. As soon as the car's moving on the road, open your ears and really listen. Does everything sound smooth? That is the magic word here, smooth. You don't want any cranking noises or anything abnormal. If it's a manual, you want the gear shifts to be nice and smooth. The car should effortlessly go into gear. If it's an automatic, you want to just listen to the shifts. If you can feel the shifts and they're big and juddery, that could be a problem. When you come to a stop, really listen when you brake. Is there any grinding or any strange noises coming from the wheel? You can even roll the window down too, so you can actually hear the brake pads hitting the discs as you come to a stop. What I like to do as well on a test drive is, as I'm braking and coming to a stop, I like to let go of the steering wheel. Now, if the car suddenly pulls to the left when you brake, that is a problem. Remember to test the handbrake as well. If you're lucky enough on your test drive to come to a slope, put the handbrake on and leave the car in neutral and see if it rolls back. That could mean the handbrake is faulty. When you're on the test drive, make sure you get the opportunity to take the car onto a safe, long road and go 60 to 70 miles per hour. Because when you get to 70 miles per hour, the steering wheel might start shaking. If it does, that means the wheels aren't balanced. And if someone's trying to sell a car with unbalanced wheels, in my opinion, that's a big red flag. Even though it's not an expensive problem to fix, the fact they're trying to sell a car with unbalanced wheels, what else are they hiding? Once you're back from your drive, check the dashboard again to make sure that no new warning lights have popped up while you're driving, because sometimes a warning's not going to occur until the car's been driven a few miles. Also, take a look at the temperatures on the dash. Now, we don't need to get too technical here. The only one you really need to check is the oil temperature. Now, there should be a gauge on the dash and that should be sitting at the halfway mark. It should never go above the halfway mark. If it's going above the halfway mark, that means the engine is getting too hot and that is a red flag. So guys, there we have it. That is 33 checks that anyone can make when buying a used car. Now, I've purposely left out all the technical things like opening up the bonnet and looking at the engine. You know, if you're worried about that, take someone with you. This video is more designed for the person that doesn't really know a lot about cars or just wants a checklist to make sure they don't miss anything out. Now, at the end, I said I would have a checklist for you guys. So in the description below is a link to a PDF that you can open up on your phone and you can take it on the day and you won't miss any of these tips. So guys, thank you so much for watching and good luck buying your new car. I'll see you next time.